Luke 20:40 says, "For they no longer dared to ask him," being Jesus, "any question because they were afraid of what he would say." When you and I as leaders don't lean into the questions because we're afraid of the answers, we lose. On January 28th, 1986, just 73 seconds into its launch, the Challenger space shuttle exploded mid-flight. The catastrophe cost the lives of 7 astronauts aboard. It was a somber marker in the U.S. space program. I'm here at the Scobie Space Center. It's a learning facility memorializing Dick Scobie, who was commander of the Challenger flight crew and one of the casualties in that accident. Perhaps you're familiar with the story or you remember the event. It's been well chronicled in case studies, novels, films, and business lectures because the crux of the Challenger story hinges upon a universal vulnerability. That monolithic exhibit of human ingenuity, $3.2 billion worth of cutting-edge technology, great research, and phenomenal engineering was utterly compromised by the failure of a seemingly insignificant part. Worse yet, a whistleblower was dismissed, someone who saw the risk, but it was an inconvenient nuisance to a mission team enthralled by the goal in front of them. The disaster could have been avoided. The mission was fine, the crew was qualified, the ship was proven, but there was a timing issue that proved fatal. What's the risk of great ideas devoid of accountability to brutal facts? The liability for us as leaders can be incredibly high. A CEO recently visited a C12 group meeting and wondered afterwards, why wouldn't you run every major decision by a peer group like this? Why would you not give pause if a group of peers committed to you raise caution flags? We don't gather here to be affirmed. Your plans being challenged or changed would actually be an indication of a really good C12 meeting. Sometimes it's more critical that answers get questioned than our questions get answered. Our peers can challenge us when we are chasing things we want versus the things we need. We don't know what we don't know, and we can't see what we don't see, but we pay the price, and we are here to change that. And no one is above this. Here's where our O-ring got saved. In 2017, as a C12 member myself, leading a business that just happens to be C12, one of my peers, Allie Davidson, questioned my plan to go after the New York market and some other strategic markets instead of dealing with underperforming existing markets. Now, Allie was a new member. She was still figuring out what C12 was all about, but her tenure and her experience didn't really matter. She asked me why. What's the cost of that pursuit? What was the opportunity cost? What would happen if I was to divert the same resources and energy to high potential existing markets? And then, she asked an inconvenient question. She said, behind all that great mission justification language, was there pride in that it was just cooler, frankly, sometimes to say you're going after a big, shiny objective than the lackluster idea of dealing with an existing market when improving what we had could actually grow the mission faster? My peers made me and our business better that day, and we are still reaping the benefits. Here we are in 2019. We will have trained more than 25 chairs this year. That's 47% more than any previous year, with 84% of those being in growing existing markets. We will serve 2,500 members by the end of this year, with 47% of those being in markets where we now have more than 30 members, rather than having lots of shallow pin drops all over our map. And we're projecting that by the end of 2023, we're gonna have a cadre of more than 200 chairs who serve more than 4,000 members. This growth is a byproduct of one member caring and being bold enough to question my answers, causing me to look at my good intentions more strategically and more honestly. So today we have an opportunity. You can reflect upon the year of learning and ideation around the C12 table and all your strategic planning efforts with your team. You can put forward what the rallying cry pursuits of the next year will be. You can articulate why it matters, what success looks like to you, and how this group can support you with constructive accountability. You also can receive critical feedback. Will you embrace it or will you dismiss it? You get to be a peer for another leader today. Will you care enough to question their answers, to call out blind spots, to raise the caution flags that could threaten even a good plan due to circumstantial factors? We are engaged in high-stakes leadership. There are enough environmental factors and variables that we can't anticipate. but we're gathered around this table today to improve our results and to improve our effectiveness, to be a high-performing group for one another. So let's engage with high expectations together.